A case out of Fairfax County where prosecutors are going after the husband of a woman, a wife who was murdered allegedly by that husband and a stranger, an au pair. What they say, a complex murder plot that involved that au pair. Let's check in with criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully to walk us through what is happening here in court proceedings this week. And we're going to trial here. It seems as though no plea.
Yes, we are in trial right now, meaning the case is in trial, and there is no plea. A lot of times in very serious cases, prosecutors simply don't give an offer, so you're forced to go to trial. People think, why is this case going to trial? The facts are obvious. The case goes to trial because from a defense perspective, if there's no offer, you at least have some kind of chance in trial.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say this is you've got two co-defendants, except they're not going to trial at the same time. I believe the au pair already pled out of this case, but it's the husband who's now on trial for this plot that the government has alleged. What does the government alleged happen here? And you're looking at that suspect, the husband, and the au pair there in the background.
Yes, so the government is alleging that the au pair and the husband gathered together this plan to murder his wife. They were having an affair, it's alleged, and the husband wanted her out of the picture, the wife, and that they conspired to lure an unsuspecting third party using underground website advertising sort of kinky behavior, and they got a third party there, and the plan was to kill both of them and blame one death on self-defense and the other death on attempted murder. So it was basically the husband and the au pair, it's alleged, conspired to get rid of the wife using this method. The au pair has been offered a plea agreement. She pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter. She could face up to 10 years prison, but the offer is that if she testifies and cooperates, she'll get credit for time served, and she'll be out in about 3 years for her part in this. And usually why the government does this is because they didn't have a strong case against the husband. They had a stronger case against the au pair, but they don't want to let the big fish get away, so to speak. So they offer a deal to the co-defendant, the person who was lesser at fault, so they could get the person that they believe is the most at fault.
Interesting there, because the way you phrase it, it seems as though the government's got their work cut out, especially if it's not for this witness, right, which is the au pair in this case, because they seem to have less, you said, on the husband here. What does that look like for the defense, and how easy or difficult is this going to be for the defense to try and poke holes into what the government is alleging?
So they will have somewhat of a defense. I don't think ultimately it will prevail against the prosecution theory. So they're basically stuck with their defense. They have to go with, look, the husband had nothing to do with this. This was all the au pair, and it's being reported that all of the online access to set up the third party, Joseph Ryan, to come over to take part in what he believed was a kinky sex act. They have it that it was the au pair who did most of the online communication. So the defense does have a strong fact in that regard. But with the au pair testifying, I think it'll be compelling, although whenever you have somebody cooperating, there's an automatically built-in defense of, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot trust this person, right, but for getting this deal, they would be facing life in prison. Of course she's going to talk. Of course she's going to point the finger at my client, but really she's the person that did all this, and he had nothing to do with it. Yeah. I believe that's basically where the defense will be going.
Incredibly sad, as there's a child in the middle of this who no longer has a mother, and their father now facing the possibility of life behind bars. Joseph, we'll continue to talk, I imagine, on so many cases throughout the week. Good to see you. Thank you for the breakdown.
Good to see you. Thank you.